Back to the program, into ASEAN interview now. We take you to discuss what's happening with efforts to assist those affected by the various natural disasters that hit Indonesia.
ใช่แล้วค่ะกลับเข้าสู่รายการ ASEAN Challenge ในช่วง ASEAN Interview นะคะไปดูสถานการณ์ที่อินโดนีเซียกันค่ะซึ่งผู้ประสบภัยยังต้องการความช่วยเหลือกันอยู่ค่ะ
2 weeks after the 7.5 magnitude earthquake and ensuing tsunami struck the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, many victims are still in urgent need of support. The government has decided to call off the search for victims, citing concerns about the spread of diseases. The goal now is to focus on the next phase of rebuilding. Tens of thousands of people, many of them children, have no home to return to and are desperately in need of help. About 78,000 people have been displaced by the quake tsunami and the liquefaction that followed, like most of the evacuees. Derma has lost her house and all her belongings, but she's just glad that everyone's still alive in her family. She, along with 60 other people, have been living under one single tent since they survived the September 28th earthquake that claimed more than 2,000 lives. Derma's home was in Petobo, one of the worst-hit neighborhoods in Palu. Indonesia's National Board of Disaster Management has said debris will be cleared and the site will be eventually turned into parks and monuments. While the adults are busy finding resources to rebuild their lives, the children in Palu are left behind. Volunteers have set up a temporary school for the kids to learn and play. Puput and Alia are sisters. When the earthquake struck, they were home alone. They had to run for their lives while protecting their younger siblings. For 9 hours, the 11-year-old and the 10-year-old walked in the dark, in deep mud, looking for their parents. The girls eventually got to a safe place near the airport and found their parents. They said they miss home, but they like the temporary school at the shelter, where they can play, learn how to draw, and listen to fairy tales. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres visited the quake-hit Indonesian island of Sulawesi on Friday the 12th, praising the extraordinary resilience of local residents and pledging support for the government's rebuilding effort. A 7.5 magnitude earthquake on September 28th triggered a tsunami and extensive soil liquefaction, a phenomenon that turned soft soil into a seething mire, killing 2,073 people. The latest official estimate says up to 5,000 more may be missing.
The president, this will be an Indonesian-led process. The vice president already told me that they intend to have full reconstruction in 2 years, and of course we are ready to support. But this will be an Indonesian-led process, and I believe the World Bank and other international financial institutions will support. But it's very important to recognize that the Indonesians have been led this process and have been doing it with a lot of efficiency. But I want to pay tribute to the extraordinary resilience of the people of Sulawesi, the Indonesian people, to their courage, to the solidarity they have shown, and also to say that I am very appreciative of the excellent and quick response led by the government of Indonesia in order to replenish, to re-establish hope in this population, which we have seen all around. So total solidarity with the Indonesian people and total support to the efforts of the Indonesian government for not only humanitarian support but for reconstruction.
During the trip, Guterres also mentioned the disappearance of a prominent Saudi journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, in Turkey, saying that the UN has established contact with the parties concerned. Pressure has mounted on Saudi Arabia since Khashoggi, a critic of Saudi policies, went missing. He was last seen entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October 2nd. People who survived the multiple strong quakes and an ensuing tsunami are beginning to rebuild their homes after the search for victims came to an end Friday night in Indonesia's central Sulawesi province. Naftalia is a small-holding cacao farmer in Sigi, just 45 kilometers south of Palu city. Sigi, together with Palu and nearby Donggala, was hit hard by the September 28th quake that practically flattened this part of the Indonesian island of Sulawesi.
About half a hectare of my plantation was hit by a landslide and then carried away by river currents. The condition of my friend's plantation is much worse. As many as 3 hectares of cacao trees with ripe fruits ready for harvest were washed away by landslides and river currents. So everything is gone.
Cacao is an important income source for villagers in the region. In fact, Sulawesi accounts for 75% of Indonesia's total cacao production. The earthquake's impact on this important commodity still remains to be seen, but some farmers said all their plantations have been destroyed, and more importantly, the disruption of logistics have stopped buyers from coming. Ang runs an agricultural commodities trading business. Since 1987, he's been sourcing cacao, coffee beans, and cloves from smallholding farmers in the region. One of his warehouses was located at Petobo, a district in Palu City that was badly destroyed by the quake.
地震后2-3天才是我敢勇敢，因为这边不能够进来，因为这个大树沉下来不能够进来。我工人我就找我的工人，他说完了那个店，我说好了。
Ang's clients are international agricultural conglomerates, such as Singapore-based Olam and US-based Cargill. The twin disasters have completely disrupted logistics in and out of Palu City. Like his upstream suppliers, Ang also faces a logistical nightmare in reaching his customers. He doesn't know when he will reopen his business, and he's worried about the bank loan he took for advance cash payment to smallholder farmers. He says for businesses to go back to normal, it might take as long as 3 years. So far, workers have found more than 2,000 bodies, but officials admitted that thousands more may still be buried and said they'll end the effort to recover the bodies Friday night.
And that was the ASEAN interview for you this week and wraps up our program. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. As for now, สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ